What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mindset Matters. This episode is produced by Mindset Media and brought to you by the Empowerment Through Mindset Foundation. Cue the intro. Welcome back, guys. We have with us here a very special guest. So we have Brandon Pena. And so, Brandon, the title of this episode is From Passion to Plate. We're going to talk about your journey to becoming a travel chef. So Brandon is a 21-year-old culinary arts student at Dallas College El Centro. He is a sports enthusiast and, as we just mentioned, an aspiring travel chef. So I'm excited to get into all of those things. But before we do, I want to talk about your origin story. So tell us about what life was like for you growing up and how that's informed who you are today.
Thank you again for having me. So growing up, when I was little, I had seizures, I had epilepsy, I had different problems, and that got into my health a little bit from learning and not wanting to eat. And I was always having trouble with eating because I would never like the food. So most of the time, my mom had to blend up the food and give it to me when I was little. But starting in elementary, I started eating because I saw the kids, and I got interested in eating. And going throughout elementary, it was fun, but also a little nervous-wracking because meeting new people, meeting new teachers, all that, and then switching school in third grade because the school that I was going to, I had to pay it was closer, the school that we had, the one school that we had, it was closer because we had walking distance. So they had to transfer me to one elementary to another elementary school. And that led into me hanging out with friends at elementary, playing different sports like soccer, football, sometimes basketball, running, and getting active. So slowly, that introduced me into middle school, which was my junior high year, which is 7th and 8th grade, and my junior high year, that's when I started playing sports, playing basketball, playing soccer, playing football. But for my 7th grade year, I played football 1 year to try it out. It didn't go so well because I like watching it, but I wasn't really a fan of playing it because I was always scared of getting hurt or scared of getting tackled. But then when track season came, I transitioned to track because I remember from elementary I was very fast, very quick, and so from what I remember, my elementary year, it helped me get into what I did in track season. So after track season, I was like, okay, I like this. So I continued it out all through.
Sorry, go ahead, you're fine.
I continued it out all through high school, and until now, I still like track. I still like doing track. But starting in 2020 of COVID year, I had to stay home, and that's because of the pandemic. And so since the pandemic, my parents and my brothers, they were cooking, and so I started helping out in the kitchen, getting hands on in the kitchen, and I was like, this is actually pretty fun. So that's what got me into like starting wanting to cook in 2020. That's what.
Interesting. Yeah. So what I'm looking at your story, because there's two things that interest me about your origin story. So one, the fact that you go from as a young child having trouble eating, not liking eating, and then eventually along the way you go from there to wanting to become a pastry chef. So I want to know, like, what eventually caused you to make that shift. Tell me what moment made you make that shift.
I think the moment that made me shift was around 2020, because I started helping my mom, started getting the taste of like, oh, imagine if I can put like this food with this food with this seasoning with this. I was like, let me try different stuff. So after I started testing and trying out different foods, different ways to make different stuff, looking up stuff, I got interested. I was like, maybe I do like this. Maybe I do want to pass. I want to go through this path. And that's when I started looking up and started going to school. And in high school, I had a culinary class, and that's when I took that class, that's when I started to get interest in culinary.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. Making that adjustment. So it seems like it unlocked your creativity. You realize when you started mixing and matching things that you had a knack for the creative side of cooking, which is very interesting, because I know for me, growing up, I had the opposite problem. I couldn't stop eating as a kid, and so that caused problems for me early on. You know, I was kind of heavier. I didn't start losing weight until I played sports and was more active. But just an interesting way to look at culinary arts. It is a very creative endeavor. So you said you went through high school, you came to college. We talked about the fact that you're a culinary arts student. So first of all, what made you choose Dallas College?
What made me choose Dallas College is I was hanging out with my brother one day, and he said he had met someone from a coffee shop that came from here. From what I remember, his name was Lance, and so my brother was telling me about it, and since I had already started like cooking or started messing with stuff, he was talking to me about, oh, you should check out this guy. Maybe you'll like this. Maybe you'll like this program. Maybe you'll like this school. So that's when I started researching a little bit, and then my brother got me a meeting with this guy at the coffee shop, and I talked to him, and he told me all these different steps to take when coming in to Dallas College. So I finally looked it up, look up the hours, look up if there was a tour to check out the school, and right before I graduated, I came and checked out the school with my family, and yeah, that's what got me into Dallas College.
Nice. So Dallas College El Centro is that's one of their signature programs, is the culinary arts program. And so I noticed you talked about getting a referral, having a conversation, being able to track down that information to get the program started. So what I want to do for a few minutes for our audience is let's go ahead and take a look at the Dallas College website, and we'll see what information we can glean from there to help with new students who want to pursue culinary arts. So Daniel, if you want to go ahead and put this on the screen, we'll give it a second for it to come up, and we'll see what it has there for us. Okay, so here we're on the Dallas College website. I'm going to go into the search bar and look up culinary. Let's see what it pops up for us. Okay, so we have culinary arts and pastry. Let's go ahead and click on that. And it looks like here it gives us a breakdown of the programs. So they have both a hospitality management side. They also have a culinary arts and pastry arts side. This is the side that you're on, correct?
Yes.
So let's go ahead in here and see what it says. Okay, so it looks like there are 2 associate's degrees available for culinary arts at Dallas College El Centro, and there are also 4 certificates available. So you're taking the Associates of Science?
Yes, I'm taking the Associates of Science, trying to get my degree, and but there's also a certificate for your hands-on, meaning like the cleaning and all the learning, like the sanitation. You have to have that for the culinary program, so they will know that you know how to sanitize and respect the equipment and know how to use them.
Okay, perfect. So here it kind of gives you that breakdown. If you get the Associate's Applied Science degree, it's 60 credit hours. So that's going to be 5 semesters. Gives you your tuition for that. This is available on all campuses. This is all campuses and the Culinary Pastry and Hospitality Center. So I know El Centro, this is one of the signature programs there. You had mentioned that there was a West Chapel campus as well that does it.
Yeah, there's a West Chapel, there's El Centro, there's East Valley. There's all these other campuses that do it as well.
And that's pretty cool. So you have it spread out throughout the area. They have some testimonials down here as well. So you've got someone who went through this program, and what she says, El Centro taught me things that I use every day, from the basics of mother sauces to conversions of recipes. The class gave me real, usable information that allows me to create menus with balanced flavors and execute dishes with confidence. So it's an interesting, they talk about mother sauces here. What does that mean?
Mother sauces is like the base of tomato sauce, or the base of like a creamy sauce for, you know how when they make Alfredo, they use a base, and what they'll do is they'll put flour and butter to make a roux, and that would make something like to thicken up the like cheese sauce or like any sauce.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So you learn some interesting things here about cooking. It's a whole program that gives you the information there. So if you're interested in pursuing a culinary arts degree, definitely check out Dallas College's website, type in Culinary, and it will take you to the program breakdown, the locations and things of that nature. So it's really cool to see how that information can be accessed. So yeah, but I also want to talk to you about your experience in the program. So one, it's nice to see you got your uniform on there. So what are those things in your pocket?
So right here I have my thermometer that we always need for like checking meat, checking like chicken, raw meat, beef, but we always have these so that way we can check our food and always be prepared. They always say carry a pen in case you need to write stuff down or need to have anything written, and pen, pencil, Sharpie, so that way you can label your stuff, label the boxes, so when you're putting stuff away, you know where, you know what date, you know what time, you know how to check it and see if it goes bad or not. That's with all my equipment that I have here.
What's in the bag?
So here what I have in the bag is some of my chef stuff, and I have my spatula here, I have my scale here, I have scissors, I have calculator, all this stuff I have it, so in case we don't have like a timer or we don't use our phone, we have a timer, in case we need to calculate some numbers for like costing or for how many meats or how many items we need to like scale. We have this calculator. This is for mixing, having all mixing stuff, having all the all my pans. This one I use it for like pizzas and cutting stuff in half. It's a steel cutter, and that one's good for like pies or good for breaking stuff in half. And then
let me see that.
Breaking stuff in half. I also have these plastic tips here. Have this plastic tip so in case I'm impatient or I need some like flour in a bag, then I could use these stuff, puncture holes, and then this is the size tip we can use to like decorate and make the plate look nice.
Man, so that they got a lot of different tools and equipment. So they take the program seriously, I'm sure. And how's your experience so far? Do you enjoy it?
My experience so far is very fun. I enjoy it. The first time I was there, I was very nervous, very scared to messing up something. Because for me, I like to do stuff. I like to try to get it perfect. And then when stuff don't go wrong, I get annoyed. But I've learned to now, it's okay to mess up. Because after you mess up, you learn from that mistake. And then you're like, you keep going. I also have this tiny, small chef knife that I use for like cooking and cutting up small like little meats, or like filleting of fish and stuff. That's what I use this one for. But culinary is very fun. I like the people in there. I like the teachers in there. All the professors in there. They're very fun. They're very teaching.
Yeah, and I think it just reminds me of an expression. A craftsman is only as good as his tools.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the right tools for the job, then it makes everything so much more simple to work through the process of doing things. So that's really cool to be able to get a window into what it's like to be inside of that program, the tools they give you, the information that you learn. So Dallas College is a part of your journey. So how far are you along into your program?
Right now, this is going to be my second. I started late 2023, and this is about to be close to my third year in Dallas College.
Wow, that is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you finish, what is your plan next? Do you plan on, I guess my question should be, what would it look like for you to use what you're learning to be an entrepreneur?
What it would look like is me probably either running a business, or if I'm not running a business, then I want to be traveling, learning how to spend money wisely, how to figure out what food go where and how to categorize it, and having to know how to pay and how to send out the food and then get it out and then paying the right amount of money.
Okay, so the business side of it. So you said you want to be a travel chef.
Yes.
So what does it look like to be a travel chef?
What it looks like.
Like, do you work for, when you're a travel chef, do you work for yourself? Do you work for multiple different restaurants? Are you working for individual customers?
From what I've looked up and learned, you work for yourself, but you also work for other people sometimes, because not only do you look for companies that want to hire you, you look for like different airlines that will actually hire someone that would go from places to places, trying new foods or learning from their culture, learning from all different cuisines, and trying to figure out, ooh, maybe I can open a restaurant later on, and I know a bunch of different cuisines now, and now I can open a buffet of different foods.
Okay. Yeah, so I can see there's business aspect both on the travel side and on the actual service side, gathering your clients and then working out the details of traveling, and making sure that those things match up so that when you do get paid, you make enough in profit to justify having done it. So there's a lot of moving parts inside of that, and there are overlaps to what it's like when you're an entrepreneur in any industry. And I want to talk a little bit more about that in our next segment. But before we get there, I do want to talk about your Male Achievement Program student. So first of all, tell me about like what made you join the Male Achievement Program, and then just talk to me about what that experience has been like for you.
What made me join is when I took the tour of Male Achievement Pro, or when I took the tour of El Centro, I went downstairs. I was walking around with the person who instructed me, and the person who instructed me showed me downstairs and showed me about that Male Achievement Program, and that's when I met Mr. Tim, and he said, "You're welcome to come here anytime you want, talk to me, anything." And that was a great experience when I heard that, and I was like, you know what, let me check it out. So once I started applying to the school, I got there early because I had some classes. And when I got there early, I saw some kids hanging out, just having fun, playing some cards. So I was like, let me join them. Let me see if I can make friends, because it was my first year there, nervous. And then that's when Mr. Tim, he pulled me in his office, and we started talking about schedules, about when you want to do weekly updates, to see how you're doing, to see how your classes are, if you ever need any help and stuff. That's what made me wanting to stay more. And the more people that came, the more fun activities we did, the more they pushed me to keep going and not give up, and wanting to keep pursuing my career.
Yeah, and see, that's what's nice about Dallas College, is that they do have, in addition to their engaging programs like culinary arts, they also have support programs that provide a sense of community. So you get the whole wraparound experience there. You get the education is engaging. You have those support groups provide you with the support and engagement that you need to move through your education journey and stay connected to the college. I know I've talked about this in the past, and I'll say it again. It's been a huge benefit for me, moving through my education, to have gone through the Male Achievement Program, to have connected with the people like Tim, which was our last guest, and it's just an amazing journey for me going through the college. So definitely, if you have an opportunity, if you're going to go to college, go to Dallas College. If you go to Dallas College, don't just get your degree. Don't just go for your class. Make sure that you check out what support programs are available for you, so that you have that to kind of propel you forward. But I want to move on to our next segment, because it's going to talk about, we're going to dive into how what we learned from you can apply to entrepreneurship. So we'll go back to that conversation we were having about the details, lots of moving parts and logistics. So I know that in order to be good, there's a skill level that you have to reach as a chef in order to be in demand in that business. And so talk to me a little bit about the different skills that you have to develop as a chef specifically, and then we'll kind of take that and apply it over to entrepreneurship in general.
The different skills you have to learn is your knife cuts, because sometimes your knife cuts can mess up the dish and make your dish look like there's big pieces, small pieces. Like, for example, cutting up an onion, you have to learn how to cut it up sometimes in cubes, or cutting up in like slices. It all depends on how you are cooking a dish, how you're making a dish. In restaurants, they want you to be real good with knife skills, and not only because it's for the food, but it's also because for, how do I put it? It's also because for the good learning experience, and then the good practice. The more practice you do with like cutting up fruits, cutting up vegetables, cutting up your meats, you'll understand that knife skills is a very popular thing for cooking, because you need it. That's what helps you make your dish. And then also the seasonings. The right seasonings sometimes are good in some foods, but you need to learn how to pair up. Some seasonings go with this, some seasonings go with different foods, and all that steps.
Okay, yeah. And when I hear you talking about, first of all, I'll talk about the knife cut portion, because presentation matters. So if you're good at making those cuts, then what you slice up and place on top of your dish is going to look nice, and that's going to draw attention to what you do. So when I look at how that applies to entrepreneurship, presentation, to me, that speaks to paperwork, right? Because how you are able to construct your paperwork, whether you're trying to secure funding, whether you're developing a business plan, whether you're submitting a proposal, whatever the case may be, if you're doing a financial breakdown, learning the individual skills necessary to know what each component is, how it fits into the process, and then also what order it needs to be placed in, so that when someone comes behind and looks at it, whether it is a funder, a collaborator, an employee, a partner, they can clearly see how everything's laid out, and it will attract them to what you do. That's a skill that has to be developed. I teach a lecture on the anatomy of a proposal. I also teach lectures on business paperwork. So I'll probably release a video on here at some point about that. But it's important to develop that skill, to go through the process of learning that. Obviously, if you're on campus at Dallas College, starting up in the spring semester, we're going to have those monthly lectures where we go through the details of setting up those business things like paperwork. So stay connected to that if you're on campus and you want to learn how to do that. There are resources for you online as well. But understand that that's a skill. And while it may seem tedious, like slicing vegetables or onions or whatever the case may be, it's extremely important, because, again, it's going to be a contributing factor to what brings people towards you. But I also want to talk about the seasonings, understanding what goes together. This kind of speaks to processes and systems. So in my professional business career, I've learned that there are certain things that work together and there are other things that don't. And so as a new entrepreneur, it may take time to learn what processes and systems go together. But take the time to test things, have a feedback loop where you can kind of have a system of feedback where you can look and see what's working, so that if you need to make an adjustment, you can make it quickly. But seasoning matters too, because when people when they taste the food, that's part of the experience. That's gonna, if things don't go together, if there's too much going on in the dish, then it can be something that detracts from the customer experience.
They don't want the food to be salty. They don't want it to be like too spicy. They want it to be at the right temperature, not raw, not cooked. You got to know how to learn how to cook. And there's a lot of steps with cooking, but it's a very fun thing. If you go into that program, it's very fun.
Yeah, and it's what I'm seeing is people who exist at the highest level at different fields, whether it's cooking or any other aspect of entrepreneurship, they tend to nerd out over the details. So there are a lot of details associated with building an entrepreneurial journey. And so just having the passion to dive into those details, to be excited about the process of figuring it out, because that's part of the journey and that's part of the excitement. I know that's what drew you to cooking. Mm-hmm. It's what has always drawn me to business. It's what I like about it. I nerd out over the details of business paperwork, business processes and systems, things of that nature, even aspects of business leadership, because there are a lot of overlaps, not only in across life, that will make you a better person. That'll make you more powerful for what you decide to pursue. So I think that's something that we can pull from Brandon's story, and just from his pursuit of culinary arts. It's a nice overlap.
An example that I can also give is, look at Gordon Ramsay. He started from little and messing up, everybody getting onto him. Now he grew up and he knows the fundamentals of cooking, baking, and he goes around and has his own TV show, has his own restaurant, and teaching people, criticizing, but that's to help him. And that's where I'm trying to be like him, or trying to travel and get to like know a bunch of stuff like on his level.
Yeah, and Gordon Ramsay is a really good example because, like you said, a lot of people did get on him early, and so don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to do things, right? And get feedback. All feedback is good because you can use it to make what you have better. So don't take it personal and just continue to go through the process because entrepreneurship is a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you got to have resilience. You got to have a thick skin. You have to have confidence in who you are as a person, and you have to have the willingness to explore, be creative, and try. So all those things exist inside of cooking, culinary arts. They also exist inside of business, and they exist inside of life as well. So just things to keep in mind as you're moving through your journey.
And sometimes you're gonna fail, but it's okay because at the end of the day, no one's perfect. But you're gonna start learning from your mistakes, and then once you start learning, you're gonna start putting it in the right path, and then you're gonna realize, oh, I did this last time and I messed up. Oh, how can I fix it to keep on going and make this dish better again? How can I fix this to make it where it looks presentable? How can I fix my mistakes to make it where, oh, I'm happy with this dish?
Yeah, and you will make mistakes. The only time you fail is if you stop trying. So it's okay to make mistakes. That does not make you a failure. And making mistakes is part of the learning process. So remembering that is important too. So I want to talk about, like, for you, when you finish your degree, what is your immediate plans to use that degree?
Oh, my immediate plans is to look at like maybe traveling and trying to see like different places I can maybe already cook for, like higher places, and then transition from a restaurant to maybe going to a travel chef and flying to a different country or city or state and learning from their food and then bringing it back and then using it for maybe to open a new restaurant or a new business.
Okay. Yeah, so you want to travel internationally.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool because there's a lot of really cool cultures and places on planet Earth that you can go to, foods that you can try. I am a huge fan of traveling, and I'm an even bigger fan of eating. When you travel, I will always travel for food. So I'm excited to hear about what your experience is like. It's always nice to have someone who knows how to cook in your orbit, so you're a useful person to keep close.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've tried anything that you've made yet.
I think the one thing I made was the baked macaroni.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes.
That's right. I remember that. You brought that to the party.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I look forward to trying more of your stuff and also just seeing you move through your education with culinary arts and pursuing those passions and goals. But I want to also talk, because I know that journey is not always easy. So just talk to us about, are there any challenges that you've experienced in life or in your pursuit of education that could have had the potential to stop you from moving forward?
Yes, I do have one, and it's costing, because you gotta learn how to cost out some items, because in a plate you would probably have steak with vegetables and rice, and you gotta know how much to price that plate, because if you don't learn costing, then you won't price out the steak correctly, and then at a restaurant they're gonna be like, well, you're charging me way too much for this plate when it should be about this much. You'll be overcharging, and that's one of the difficult things I have that I still struggle with, but I'm learning and I'm pushing on. And from what my chefs have taught me, it's a great experience to learn from them and learning how to cost and how to do it step by step, slowly. And when things don't go right, they help me, so that way in the future I'll be ready and I'll be prepared and know how to cost out items and put out the right amount of food, but also make sure that plate is priced at a good price.
Yeah, so I think price modeling is important. So, like, if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, deciding how you want to price model, what your price model is going to be. And so usually what you'll do is you'll start with an industry standard number. You'll decide what your profit margin is going to be. There's different styles of pricing. So some people like to go with sometimes you're going to have a subscription-based price or a reoccurring fee associated with things. Sometimes you're going to have a upfront flat fee. But it's always good to check what the industry standard numbers are first. Decide what profit margin you're comfortable with working with. Understand how that translates to the competitors in the market. Where you want to position yourself. If you're going to be a top shelf product and you're going to put the quality into doing something at a high level, and your price is going to match that, and just understand that that's where your competition is, right? And so now your quality becomes far more important. It should always be important, but sometimes people want to operate in the middle. If you want your customers, if you're looking for price motivated customers who are looking for a lower price, you may have to adjust some things there as well. So all of those details are important when you're looking at how you want to model your price, how you want to structure your service, or your product that you're trying to offer. So that, of course, is something that you've seen inside of Culinary, but it exists inside of business as well. So there's a lot of thoughtfulness that goes behind. So the education piece is important. So we learning from Brandon, he's going to school for this, right? So he's not just jumping in without any education. And so I always encourage people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, attach yourself to an educational experience that will propel you forward. Learn the individual skills. So even if you're just going to learn, if you want to go for a certificate, you can go for a certificate, degree. I do extracurricular lectures to try to provide support for people who are learning. I'm doing them at UNT, UTD. I have one at Dallas College as well. So it's important, right? If you're gonna, I'm pursuing my PhD so I can teach business at university, because I understand the importance of education inside of business, but also inside of life as well. So just balance that out, the need for, because the greatest teacher in life will always be experience. So get experience. So if you're going to pursue your education, find ways to apply what you're learning in real life as well. Do both. Don't choose one or the other, but education is important. So I want to look ahead to the future. So we talked about you want to travel, you want to be a traveling chef, but what other personal goals do you have for yourself in life beyond just your career?
I want to do like daring stuff, meaning like going skydiving, just having fun, being outside with nature, but also coming back to learning their culture. That's why learning culture is a good experience for me, because then I can be outside and walking and experiencing their like parades or their events that they're doing, but also be within like the food industry and be in the food industry and combine that together and just doing different stuff. Some of the stuff that I want to do, which would be like skydiving, walking across a glass bridge, and just doing some other stuff and trying new foods.
Damn, so you're an adrenaline junkie.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I could do roller coasters. That's probably about it for me. That's as much excitement as I can handle. But for me, I think my goals outside of teaching business at university and continuing to build out the foundation and making impact inside of education. Personal goals, I would like to. I'm in the process. I'm almost finished writing a book, so I'd love to publish that. Also, I don't really do a whole lot of things. So I like sports. I'd like to play sports just even in my free time. I like to read. A lot of what I do is centered around work, but I do want to travel. That's something I want to do for sure. I want to make sure that I get a perspective on the world, learn different aspects of cultures and society. So inside the United States, and then one day also internationally.
Yeah, some of the main places I would like to travel, which my favorite one that I want to travel, because from of Rio, the movie Rio, was Brazil, because the way how their carnivals and all their events, it looks interesting and looks very fun. Another one would probably be Hawaii, and that's because how I like to be in the water, and I want to learn surfing and a bunch of different foods, and I would just like to look and see how everything is set up and how all the movies that I've seen that are like traveling, they show me, ooh, this might look interesting. This is where I would want to go. Want to go have fun.
Yeah, I can see, like, I've been to Hawaii twice, so I would recommend it. If you go to Hawaii, go to the island of Kauai. I was when I went there, I got a chance to do like a luau. I even got a chance to, like, they have you go up on stage and you perform with the dancers and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. It was quite a bit ago. I would probably go again. The weather is perfect. If you go for as long as you can. You're not going to want to leave, and it's not cheap to go there. So, but yeah, like, I would love to travel to some. I've only been to a handful of places, but Hawaii is probably the most notable. But yeah, go ahead.
The most place I've been to was it was a long drive. It was like a 23-hour drive, but we broke it up. We went to Yellowstone National Park, and that place was a long drive, but it was very beautiful once we got there. All the glaciers, all the mountains that we saw, the water was very cold. All the different stuff that we got to see was very fun.
Yeah, so I think it's always good in the midst of planning your professional career, your business endeavors, your entrepreneurial journeys, just to also make sure you have a plan for your personal life as well, just the things you want to pursue as a person. Life moves by very quickly, so you want to enjoy the experiences that you have. So we don't have a lot of time. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you for joining us today. Very excited to get you over here and talk about the culinary program and just, your journey as a person. So I wish you all the success, and I look forward to hearing.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you found this episode to be valuable, please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and always remember, mindset matters only for the hardworking.